So I'd love to share with you one of my favorite memories at X. It took place on the top floor of our school in the spring semester of my junior year in one of my favorite classes of all time, sociology. I was standing at a desk my friend had built our first day there, a school that was only 2 years old at the time. But that day, the trees were wavering outside, softening the light, tears filtered in and out of the room as they began our warm-up for the day, ready for the discussion to begin. As the discussion gave way, a question was posed. Why does Next High School have such a rich environment of inclusion? No one forced the peer to ask the question, but nevertheless, we spent the whole block derailing our prose lesson plan and aiming to find that answer. We never reached one said answer, but as today, with it being our last day in the weird land between peers and alumni, I think we should see how close we can get to finding out why Next is so inclusive. It starts up top with our prose. Inclusion is created by allowing a class to be spent on peer interest, pondering a question that we wanted to answer. Inclusion is enabled by saying that even as a teenager, your interests matter. This attitude of acceptance from our prose allows us to express our ideas, not just as students, but as capable people with something to offer. Our prose constantly strives to follow our needs. I know this as someone who has spent many of the days being slightly too aggressive. They truly care about us. The rules are constantly being rewritten, not out of failure to create good ones, but out of a desire to never stop until each peer here is successful and happy. There is no good enough or, oh well, maybe next year. It is always, how can we enable positive change? Even if not all of us plan on being teachers in the future, know that the example you have shown us is that what great leadership can look like is always inclusive. Thank you, pros, for showing us what it means to create environmental inclusion and to be a part of one. Thank you for allowing us to feel heard and cared for. And while it may start up top, it's carried out each day by our peers. Every day our peers show me that everybody has something to offer. I have never felt like there's someone I couldn't talk to because they weren't in my group. This community sets the standard that in favor of STEM or humanities, honor or non-honors, freshman or senior, each peer has something they are knowledgeable about and passionate about. As someone who entered this school with a bigger ego than the one I left with, I recognize how important it is to be around people who accept you for who you are, not what you wish to portray. Thank you, peers, for showing me and each other that there's always more to a person than what meets the eye. Thank you for creating an inclusive community for us to truly be peers. Perhaps it's the foundation of our school that has embedded inclusion in everything we do. I agree. Interest, inquiry, and impact. Let's start with interest, the beginning of the process. Another memory I'd like to share was from this past December in our current events class. I settled into my seat for first block, ready to learn and discuss whatever news was currently sweeping the nation. However, that day, we would be taking a detour. We would be looking back with our own very Mr. Rip, as he told us quite eloquently, similar to how he did today on his family's captivating history in the military. His stories were less about the details of war, but instead about the ideals that bonded his family together and built a community long before he reached Next High School. I remember thinking to myself, the cheesiest thought of all time, this is why I'm here. This is why I am not at any other school. Learning about what interested our principal, what was important in his life, as he commandeered our class, he became accessible as a well-rounded person, not simply an authority figure or a principal. Inclusivity is created when we follow each other's interests. Sometimes our interests overlap and we collaborate. Other times we're simply there to appreciate and cheer each other on. Competition has no place among us because we realize how our interests can coexist. Our interests often spill over into I3, the classroom, and the community. But no matter where they move through, it's important to put it into context as last year's impact speaker, Lucy Lemon did. She said, academic achievements are impressive, but it's the small things I will remember most. Yes, inquiry, impact in classes, and the plethora of other experiences that we have here are important, but it's the moments of sparked interest and environment that is inclusive where we truly build an attitude of acceptance. It's taking interest in those around us that builds community. It's stopping class for a moment to share what we are passionate about. And yes, we are here to learn, but our definition of learning is not contained within a textbook. It's defined by a space where we feel comfortable to grow in all capacities, social, emotional, whatever it may be. Inquiry takes our interest to the next level. Inquiry stands out to me at Next specifically because we make space for it. We welcome it into our classrooms, our internships, our IDs, and our conversations. Inquiry is not something we turn off when we step into the school building. Our school is not a place where we go through the motions and just get through it. We don't expect an environment focused on the number of honors and college classes to simply get the high GPA. We don't work for the grade, check off the boxes, and leave it at that, and we don't compete for internships simply as a resume builder. Inquiry is an expected part of our education. It is the reason we might spend a full class answering just one question. It is the reason I have seen more truly open-minded conversation within our walls than outside of it. Inquiry is not something that has slipped through the cracks by chance. It has been purposely made room for. The way has been cleared, the door has been opened, a seat has been made at the table. It is expected that we will question what else can we do to make this place better, how else can we foster success and inclusivity. Next has made room for inquiry, and in turn has created space for inclusion. And lastly, impact. This word has a different connotation to many of us now than when we first entered Next. Impact to me is represented by a set of words I will never forget. We have a vision for the peers and pros at Next High School. My I3 ink is when we first said these words at our first show-off presentation, and they forever changed my view of possibility. I, as a high schooler, realized I could put tangible impact out into the world. I didn't just have a vision, I brought it to life. And that presentation is proof that what I had done that early on was already making an impact. If that was my starting point, what else could I do? And these moments have happened again and again for all of us. I have seen proof that impact doesn't have to be contained until we graduate. Even in high school, we could do more than hot glue together a trifold board on what we would do if we wanted to start a business, host an event, or any of the number of things our peers do actually in real life each day. Instead of waiting for the real world, we jumped in. We declared that today would be our time to make an impact. And if we could already do this as high schoolers, our future beyond this is looking bright. Impact shows us what we are capable of. It shows us that we can. It shows us not only the realm of possibility in academics or business or project, but in creating an inclusive space. Impact shows what inclusion can do for our school and for our community. It shows that connection shouldn't be an afterthought, but important as any other aspect of our education. It seems fitting to go back to our question before deciding on a definitive answer. What makes Next High School a place of inclusion? The question technically could have been posed with any other number of words: acceptance, a place of welcoming, accessibility. However, Dr. Anthony Abraham Jack provides the clearest answer as to why inclusion is the only term to truly describe the community we created. And while he was describing education reform here, the idea applies just the same. He said, access is not equal to inclusion. Access is not equal to inclusion. Simply because we call teachers by their first names or teach and learn in open classrooms doesn't mean we have an environment of inclusion. Sure, these external symbols create a positive learning experience, but they don't actively include. We include one another by buying in, by digging in our heels and stating what we want out of our education. We collectively agree as peers, pros, parents, that we want more than access. We want to be included in the learning process. We want to include and value each other, not just within our groups or pre-existing social structures. We demand inclusion as an expectation of those who step foot in our halls. Our pros embed inclusion in their administration and teaching. Our peers include one another as people with something valuable to offer. Interest, inquiry, and impact all give us the tools to carry this ideal out. With contributions from so many people and ideas, this all makes for a complicated answer to our question. While we may never have a precise answer, it is important that the question is posed. The question, freely offered, unprompted, speaks volumes about our school and the people who take part in it. The question confirms how we live out inclusion without it ever being explicitly marked to us. No one said, come on everybody, make sure you're being inclusive, and it magically happened because we were ordered to do so. We just did it because of the community that it brought together. A community that we all wish to keep fostering. Perhaps Next started with I3, but we didn't end there. Through our building of the school, we created catchy, but it represents what is truly important to us: interest, inquiry, impact, and inclusion. Thank you.